Alright guys, here's how we're going to do it today. We're going to show you 2 Overwatches instead of just 1 like normal, but this time we're just going to show you the highlights. Though I'm not entirely all for this method, because I feel it's going to be a little bit more biased towards how I see things instead of showing you the entire picture and letting you choose for yourself. Let me know afterwards in the comments below what you think of it, and maybe I'll go back to the other method, or I'll continue to do them like this. Now, one thing to note while watching this is I did notice that this guy did take a lot of breaks randomly throughout the game. It was like he would just randomly go AFK. He might have been in spawn or on his way to the site or even trying to retake a site, but he would just go AFK out of nowhere. Now, I went through the entire CT side and didn't notice too much, but on the terrorist side things started to get a little bit weird. Here you can see him go into pit, and before he goes into pit he takes a shot at the door, but then afterwards he goes into the pit and he follows the guy through the wall before coming out and taking him out. Now, while I can't say this is a definite sign of cheats because you could definitely hear the footsteps and he didn't follow him pixel perfectly, I can say it's a little bit suspicious. The next part is up here on Cat. When he hears the guy coming around, he comes out and takes him out. Now that itself isn't too suspicious, but after a moment he'll make his way over towards Long. He seems to start lagging out of nowhere, but immediately goes through the door, just aimed at the guy's head, and is able to take him down before finishing off the round. Now, I believe that the only reason that looked as suspicious as it did was because of the crazy lag spikes he was experiencing at the time. Other than that, it would have probably been completely normal if it weren't for the lag. Here again, you can see him going AFK at the beginning of the round. This leaves us with the most suspicious round. Here you can see he's got an AWP and he's trying to pick middle. He takes a couple shots at the guy. He shoots the door and actually hits him through the door and gets him down very low, but then he just continues to watch mid as his team works B and works A. Eventually, they're able to take down his teammates at B and they start working their way back over towards A, and he just sits here in middle and waits for the cross. Now, the reason this is suspicious is he's watching middle, all of a sudden he flicks over to the left and shoots the guy through the door. Now, looking at this shot again, it can be one of 2 things. He was either taking a shot right before he left middle, just a regular spam shot in hopes that he would randomly hit someone, or he actually could see the guy through the wall. This leads us to our final judgment. Now, whereas I don't think he was using any aim assistance or external assistances or griefing, I was a little bit split on if he could have been using vision assistance. Still though, I don't think there was enough involved to where I could actually say he was, so I had to say insufficient. Now, the next game started off pretty interesting. As the guy started spinning around, I didn't know if he was going to start using a spin bot, but instead he just kept spinning around in spawn and killing himself with Molotovs. It turned out that it was just another case of griefing. Now, since that last game was so anticlimactic, I decided to do a third game. Right off the bat, we can see that this guy has very good stats, with 27 kills, 226 damage a round, 1 5-kill round, and a 29% headshot percentage. Now, as we all know, this is going to signify one of 3 things. 1, he's smurfing, 2, he's cheating, or 3, he's just having a really good game. Now, the first thing I noticed is he didn't really check anything in tunnels, and when he came up to the catwalk, he stopped when he saw the guy approaching from off the screen. Now, he follows that up by making his way over towards Long and throwing a perfectly timed flashbang with a pretty decent Molotov to keep someone from pushing him. He then holds the angle and waits until the guy finally pushes into his crosshair and he's able to take him down. The next half starts off pretty interesting as he buys a taser and waits outside of Long. Here you can see his teammate goes into the Long doors and checks it. I'm not sure if he sees someone or not, but he ends up falling off of it. Meanwhile, this guy's just going to sit here with the taser. He seems to be fairly sure that someone's going to push through, and he actually sets up for it, takes out the first guy, and is able to take down the second guy. The only thing that throws me off about this play is that he took out the first guy instead of the second guy, as taking out the second guy would have been the better choice, so maybe he wasn't walling. Of course, then he follows that up by making his way up Cat and seemingly stopping out of nowhere and knowing that there will be a rotation over from B, even though he had just seen one guy rotate, which means that nobody would be left in B. Next, we have a round where he's using a scout and he always seems to know exactly where to look. Eventually, a guy does push up from Long and he's able to turn over and see him coming through before he comes through and shoot him as he comes out. Now here we can see that there's a guy in middle and his teammate goes down, so he's going to try to make his way over towards middle and see if he can take this guy out. So he picks up this AWP, even though he already had an AWP, looks over towards Cat and doesn't see anyone pushing. He's going to throw a smoke here, CT spawn, his teammate gets killed on Cat, and he gets flashed here. He's able to take this guy out, and he's still pretty much perfectly flashed. It could have been complete luck, but what really makes me curious is what happens later on in this round. So a few seconds later, he finds himself on the other side of the smoke, and the smoke's dissipating. He's able to get that kill at long, because you could see him there. It was blindly apparent. But this is what I found interesting. Here he'll start taking a couple shots with his pistol. And as he takes shots with his pistol, the guy starts rotating back from Cat, and he goes back to watch Cat. Now the guy changes his mind, and he decides to go back to watching the other side. Now this isn't the only time that he's done stuff like that, as he does it on this round as well. Here first you can see him getting spammed through the smoke, so he decides to spam the guy back, and he does a little bit of damage to him. Alright, so now he throws a flashbang and the smoke begins to clear up, and he's going to make his way into the site. Now as he checks everything first very professionally and makes sure no one's there, he looks towards the door and seems to see someone's pushing towards it. Either that or he decided to throw a late smoke towards the door now that he was coming into the site. He ends up clearing the left side and killing the guy over there, and pulling his bomb and starts planning. Now a guy's going to rotate his way over towards the window and he's going to hear the deagle come by him, but he's not going to look over towards the guy with the deagle. Instead he's going to check out CT spawn and take him out. That could have been a call from his teammate, and then he took out the guy by window. Now I'm sure you guys all noticed this shot, which is actually a very common shot, so I can't say that he was cheating or not cheating off the bat. Though that round is immediately followed up by a nice little TK. Which leads us to the final round of the Overwatch. It's a 1v3 situation where he takes out this guy coming up middle. This puts him in a 1v2, and the one thing about this round that you'll notice, he doesn't have any hesitations about where anyone is.
Flashback. Flashback. Throwing fire.
As we watch that last kill again, you can see he comes out placed directly upon him, even though it's not a typical angle someone would play at. After watching everything, I can't say that he was using any aim assistance or any other assistance, or even griefing for that matter, even though he did get the one TK on the bot, but I do think he was using a vision assistance just because he didn't seem to get caught off guard ever. Anyways, that's the end of today's Overwatch video. I hope you guys enjoyed.